great year for Tyson Fury. Didn't feature the kind of quality of opposition or dramatic fights that we've seen in the past with the likes of Deontay Wilder. But has it been the year where he solidified his position as the biggest draw, the biggest attraction in the UK boxing scene?
Yeah, I think he has. I mean, obviously, one of the fights was a mandatory, so he had to take that fight with Dillian Whyte. And as we all know, it's well documented, 94,000 people there. 59,000, I think it's 800, whatever it was at Spurs. So, that's nearly, 150 odd thousand. He's the biggest attraction in world boxing for live gates. There's no doubt about that. And he cemented that. And we managed to achieve two things. One, get rid of the mandatory. And two, which I wanted to, I was sort of banging on about, to get some rounds under his belt so that he could set himself up for the unification fight next year. And he needed that because I didn't want him not getting a fight in before Christmas. Otherwise, he'd been out the ring for a year again. So he's done that. And now we've got to just get that fight over the line. We've issued the contract, sent the contract to Usyk for them to look at. So we'll go from there.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. But for years, the kind of rivalry between Fury and Anthony Joshua was that, who had the better resume. It was relatively close, but Joshua was the commercial attraction. He was the one selling out stadia. There seems to be a role reversal now. Is that fair? And is that quite satisfying for you?
Well, it's satisfying that he's selling out stadiums, and I'm delighted about that. I'm delighted for Tyson. Look, Tyson's crossed over. He's not just a boxer; he's crossed over. So he's proved what he can do as far as the fans are concerned. I mean, the fans loved him. They came to both the shows. They weren't disappointed. They were all happy. They were all cheering at the end. So that was brilliant. He's had 3 best-selling #1 books. He's got a series coming out.
Have you read them,
Netflix.
Frank? Have you read them cover to cover?
Yeah, of course I have. He's got his Netflix series coming out. So he's a major star. He's a big star. He's not just in boxing. He's a big star. And that Netflix series will be seen all over the world. And that's brilliant for him. It's brilliant for boxing. It's brilliant for us as his promoters. And he's solidified where he's at. I mean, I've been saying it for ages. For me, he's the #1 heavyweight in the world. And I think that's beyond doubt now. And he's the biggest attraction in boxing. And he's the better fighter. And he's done it by what he's done in the ring. He's a much better fighter than I think he's head and shoulders above all the heavyweights at the moment.
And when we spoke to you not long after the Dillian Whyte fight earlier in the year, which was, of course, the biggest attendance ever for boxing in the UK, you said that you were very happy with the pay-per-view numbers. You said the gate had exceeded that for Anthony Joshua against Vladimir Klitschko, but the final numbers weren't in. Can you give us a rough idea, so many months later now, of the pay-per-view buys? Was it over 1 million?
You can caught me on the hop there, but they've done really well. Everybody's highly delighted with the numbers, what they did. Highly delighted.
Can't tell us if it hit that million figure?
I'm not. I've got to be honest with you. I can't remember what it was, but no one's complained. Everybody's happy with the number that hit. It was a big show, and obviously you only had to see yourself. We could have sold 100,000 tickets there. It was a big show that the public bought into in a big way, as they did in the second show.
Well, talking of the Chisora fight, obviously didn't have quite the same allure as the Dillian Whyte one, predominantly because they fought twice before.
No, I agree with that. I accept that.
But still did very well at the gate at Spurs. How did it do? Again, this is more recent, so maybe you'll be a bit more on the ball on this one. How's it done?
Well, as you know, one of our rivals is always keeps on banging on about what numbers we've done.
Set him straight.
I don't know where he gets the numbers from, but I will tell you this: we did far more buys than they've got subscribers on Dead Zone.
Yeah, I believe you, but that still doesn't give me an accurate picture of how
we've done well. Listen, it delivered what it needed to, and we're all happy about where we are. And more importantly, it set us up now for where we need to be next year with these big fights Tyson and for the other heavyweights in their stable. And it's important to get rid of that, as I say, get rid of the mandatory. And it was important that he had a run out before this fight. So we've got a big fight coming up in March. As I said, we've issued the contracts. Obviously, that's going to, they'll look at that and they're going to come back and the lawyers sort that out. And obviously, we've got to sort out where it will take place.
And just final one on the Chisora fight, and then I promise to move on. Under or over 500,000 buys?
Pardon?
Under or over 500,000 buys?
It was over.
Fair enough. Moving on, we will talk about the hopeful Usyk fight in a minute, but Anthony Joshua was a fight that some parties seemed hopeful of making for December, and it didn't come to fruition. Looking back on it now, what was the crucial thing that stopped it happening? Was it just a lack of time?
Well, I was one of the parties that thought it would happen. Probably me more than anybody. Why didn't it happen? I think there was I think between everybody there was the two camps. There was a move to get it done, but I thought as it got to sort of get nearer to it, I think the other side didn't want to know, and eventually Joshua didn't want to know. And I think he did an interview, didn't he? Well, he did do an interview, Frank Smith, saying there weren't enough time to get it all together, which I wish you'd have told us day one. I mean, we wouldn't have wasted 5-6 weeks on it and could have done something else. But that's all water under the bridge now, and it's a pointless exercise going over it. It is what it is.
That kind of belief that they never really wanted it, is that kind of supported by the fact that Joshua has since gone round different trainers and continues to?
Well, he never had a trainer.
Yeah.
He never even had a trainer. And we were unaware of that because we obviously thought he was staying with a trainer he got. So he never had a trainer. So how was he ever going to do the fight? He never had a trainer. And he's obviously, as you say, he's hunting around for a trainer. He may have found one. I've got no idea. I don't really care, to be quite honest. We got our plan for next year. The obvious question, is he going to figure in it? Well, that I can't really... I can't see him figuring anything Tyson's doing in these next couple of fights, that's for sure. And Tyson was a bit pissed off what went on and the time we wasted. So we are where we are with that. But if he wants to fight Joe Joyce, or if he wants to fight Daniel Dubois, we'd do those in a heartbeat.
Well, I'm sure he'll watch this and take those under due consideration. The Usyk fight, you said contracts that have been issued. How recently was that?
I think it was it was in the last few days or so.
And what do you expect, if anything, could still be the stumbling blocks or the points of negotiation that are remaining?
Well, it's like everything. You have your discussions that gets translated. You tell the lawyers to get on with it. That gets translated into a contract. They send it to their lawyers, and I'm sure there's stuff in there that they want to tweak and look at and so forth. But that's nothing unusual. It's a bit like buying a house. You all agree to terms, but then the lawyers get involved and you have some to and fro until you get to where you need to be.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sore point personally at the moment, Frank, so I won't dwell on that for too long. We spoke to Alex Krasuk a couple of weeks ago, just before Christmas, the promoter of Usyk, of course. He said, similar to you, very, very, nearly there. He said that there were 3 Middle Eastern countries vying to stage the fight. He said the UK was more or less a backup option, I guess, because of the money involved. Where are we at with that kind of the location side?
That's about it, really. That is the position. And until the contract's signed, I mean, we've got to get the fight. Once we've got the fights done, then we will then look to see where we're going to put it on. And we've got to move very quickly because we're looking to get this on in early March. So we need to move quickly, all of us. And we're all on the same page as far as that's concerned. Get it done quickly so we can announce it and get it on sale.
Give us an idea of how the contract works with no venue in place. So is it just based on a split, like a percentage split at the moment, and the actual figures will be later on?
I don't want to go into any details of the contract, mate, because we've got a confidentiality agreement with all of us not to discuss what's in there. But we're all, we all know where we are. We're all on, as I say, hopefully we're all on the same page to make it work.
Fans will be, or some fans will be, a little disappointed that it's not probably going to be in the UK. I think most people understand why. but can you kind of sympathise with the fans as well that they
Yeah, of
want
course
to?
I can. Of course I can. I mean, but you've got to look at, we've just Qatar's just had the World Cup. A lot of people were pissed off that the football was there, but it was there because they poured up the money to make it happen. Their Olympics have gone to Moscow. They've been gone all over the places which have paid money for them. This is our Olympics. This is our World Cup final. Years ago, the big fight, George Foreman and Ali went to Zaire. They then did fights in Philippines, in Jamaica. So they went where the money was, and that's where we're at. Nothing changes. It's exactly the same as even if you're a footballer. You're going to go where you can earn the most money. They've got short careers, boxers. It's more dangerous than any other sport. And fights like this that come along once in a generation, 4 belts on the line, these guys want to get top dollar. So we've got to go where the best offer is. That's where it's going to wind up. Would I like to see it at Wembley? Of course I would like to see it at Wembley. It goes without saying.